My name's Ryan Boyd with Wild Tech, and I also own a company called Quick Catch. It's a nuisance wildlife removal company, and we've owned it for 12 years, and over the past 12 years, we've been hired by neighborhoods, communities, state parks, preserves, places that don't allow public and even private hunting. And so what happens is a lot of the game species, deer, turkeys, especially wild hogs, get extremely overpopulated because hunting is a necessity. And so a lot of the hunting that I do is paid to hunt, hired hunting, and I use the bow and arrow. I've been shooting a bow and arrow since I was about 12 years old. So with that being said, I've got a lot of experience, years and years and years of experience, and hundreds of harvests with a bow and arrow. So I wouldn't say I'm the best archer or anything like that, but I do have a ton of experience. So I wanted to share with you some of the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. And we do have a lot of people that are asking, I'm just getting into bow hunting. How do I get started, that type of thing. So I want to just talk to you about the basics, the very basics of what do you do when you get your first bow. So you've gotten your first bow, whether it be from a archery shop or a hand-me-down bow or from a friend or whatever. You've got a bow, and now what do you do with it? First thing you want to make sure is if you did get a bow from a friend or something like that, that this bow fits you. One bow does not fit all, so you need to learn about your draw length, and your local bow shop will be able to help you with that. Your draw length, your draw weight. I would recommend starting at a low draw weight, something that's extremely easy to draw back, because higher poundage isn't always better. Quality is much more important than quantity, especially when it comes to bow hunting. So we're going to start off with a low poundage, not worrying about accuracy, not worrying about where your arrows are going, but first and foremost, getting a good foundation on your form. So today's going to be all about form, learning form. So you just got your bow, so what you're going to do is draw back, and you want to just concentrate on everything, all of your form. So first thing we're going to look at is your anchor point. So your anchor point is wherever the string is settled and kind of nestled next to your face. My anchor point, I like to have my nose just barely touching the string. And like I said, I've been doing it so long that I don't have to think about my anchor point. But when you're first starting out, you want to just get your nose to the string, line up your peep sight. And your peep sight is this circle on the string, and line that up with the circle on your sight. So we want to just concentrate on getting that anchor point. So now that we've got our anchor point, we want to draw back a few times and just focus on nothing but that anchor point. Next, you want to focus on your left arm, what your left arm and your left hand is doing, and whatever hand is holding the bow. So it's going to feel very unnatural, but you actually want to keep a very loose grip with whatever hand is holding your bow. You want to keep a very loose grip, and what I like to do is just barely touch my fingertips together. I wouldn't do it with an open hand because your fingers could possibly get in front of a broadhead, and you don't want to shoot your finger. So I would keep my hand closed, but just a light grip. So we've got our anchor point, we've got our loose grip, and whatever arm is holding the bow, that arm needs to be slightly bent. That elbow just needs to be slightly bent. You do not want to keep a straight arm. You want that elbow slightly bent. Find your anchor point. Keep your bow hand, the hand that's holding the bow, keep that nice and loose, just a very loose grip. And that arm, in this case my left arm, is just barely slightly bent. So what you want to do is you want to create that muscle memory. So as you're drawing back, and again, we're not shooting right now, we're just concentrating on form. And remember, it's super important to start with a very light, easy weight, because your shoulders are going to start burning after you hold this bow back for a little while. So the lighter weight, the better for starting out. So everything needs to be smooth and graceful when you're shooting a bow. Nothing needs to be jerky or all of a sudden. It needs to be smooth and graceful. So now that we've got our form figured out, I would draw back maybe 20 or 30 times and just concentrate on your form. Now that you've got your form figured out and you've started creating some of that muscle memory, do that until you don't have to think about it as much. Every time you draw back, you come into that same position. That's what's important, is consistency. Everybody's form is going to be a little bit different, but as long as you're doing the same thing over and over every time you shoot, that's what's important, is consistency. So this has been part 1 of building your form, and there's going to be a part 2 video next week, so make sure to stay tuned on actually starting to shoot some arrows into a target. If you enjoyed this video, please let us know by hitting the like button below, and if you know somebody that might be able to benefit from it, feel free to share it. Thank you for joining us. This has been your Wild Tech Tip of the Week. We'll see you next week.